Welcome to What We Into, a weekly podcast covering movies, video games, television, comics, pop culture, whatever we feel like that week. I'm Lawrence Dial, and I'm here with my co-host Robert Karma Robinson.
Well, damn, I was usually going to say my own name, but all right.
You can say it. Go ahead.
Well, no,
I'll edit it out. Don't worry.
No, you already did it.
No, I did.
I think keep this for the beginning.
No.
I like this banter. We'll use this banter for later. Where I'll be like, remember when you didn't let me say my own name?
I only want to make you happy.
No, it's fine. I'm more than happy now.
Well, this week we're discussing Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Filled with... I'll add sound effects, thank you.
Well, I can't do mouth sound effects now?
No,
I'm just...
Actually, that was on my notes. More mouth sound effects.
Oh, wow? Really?
I think lots more.
Done.
My baby's in the backseat, reading a magazine. Ladies and gentlemen,
my name is Miles Morales. I'm the one and only Spider-Man. At least that's what I thought.
You ever hear of the Super Collider? You're gonna love this.
Dimension opening now.
You're like me.
that's impossible.
So we're going to discuss, we saw it this weekend, and we're going to discuss that. But first, we're going to do some news.
Bam, 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 bam. What you got this week? What's on the docket?
Did you see the Entertainment Weekly cover?
Probably not.
Will Smith?
Oh, I did. I did, actually.
Could you text me? You said, I love it. I'm so happy he's not blue.
Okay, you're a liar. I said none of those things. But I actually did see it in passing. And it's you know what I did note about it was that I was like, wow, I am so glad that they actually used actors that look like, you know, they could be from the region. I'm glad that what my first thought was like, oh, I'm so glad they didn't whitewash this. The literal first thought in my head.
We're talking about Aladdin, by the way, and the first look on Entertainment Weekly, their magazine, is Will Smith with his arms out, and he's
as a genie. He's a genie with the nice little top knot, rocking the top knot with the gold emboss on it.
Yep, you got Aladdin there. You got Jasmine.
I mean, and they look the part.
Everything looks pretty good, except
you don't like you think Will should have been painted blue? You think they should have?
Well, you know what happened, right?
No, I don't know.
Like they basically just took this picture and then Twitter blew up. And they're like, you're not blue. Oh. You're ruining my childhood.
Well, that's hilarious because I think it's a good place to talk about fandom because there's a way of doing it, and I feel like we're both fans of this media, these genres, but we don't go the way that's like I'm never on the internet like harassing anybody about the fact that like I mean, there's so many things. It just doesn't make sense to like you love the thing. Like I was reading something recently this week where the new content for Spider-Man, the last DLC for Spider-Man is dropped. I think today.
We're going to talk about it later, but yes, I want to hear all about it.
Well, it was just that people found out that like the Sam Raimi suit, I guess, wasn't part of the initial DLC. And they completely lost their minds, like because
this is the fourth DLC that's come out for the Spider-Man PS4 game.
It's the third DLC. It's third and last of the DLCs that they are releasing for the game.
And so there's no Tobey Maguire suit.
Or there wasn't. Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Well, there in the initial like release of the DLC, there was no Sam Raimi. So it was just like these couple other variant suits or whatever, and like people went like freaked the hell out, like lost their absolute minds.
Of course they did.
Like and because like Twitter is like this direct feed to so many of the these people who are responsible for the game or whatever, they they got. I mean, it was kind of bad. But cut to this morning, I opened up my browser. And they released the Sam Raimi suit like as like a surprise, like, oh, by the way, here's the Sam Raimi suit for the DLC. Like I was like,
that's because complaining works.
That's horseshit. No.
Anyway, so people on Twitter complained that he looked more like Sinbad and less like the genie from Aladdin.
Sinbad, what? You mean the comedian?
Yeah, the comedian. True or false? Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam.
False.
Because
Shazam was the Shaq movie where he plays the
oh,
genie.
you're so good at
Come
this.
on, Pimpin'.
You're so good
I
at this.
mean, if you're gonna challenge me with something hard.
So there's a whole bunch of like Photoshop pictures of Will Smith now on his cover.
As Shazam?
No. Well, yeah, but also that, but also with like Blueface. They Bluefaced him up. But he came back and said, "This was guys, relax,
Right?
relax.
Calm down.
This is just a first look."
Jeez, I don't like. That's why I don't get so like bent out of shape. Like for instance, that first Spider-Man movie with the one that everyone holds so dear, the Sam Raimi one with Tobey Maguire. They hold it in such high regard. But me as a fanboy, I had issues with that first Spider-Man movie. The fact, one of the hugest ones being that Spider-Man he organically makes his webs. Like that was a big like departure from the canon. I was like, what? But I didn't lose my absolute loving mind over it, and it didn't ruin the movie for me.
I have thoughts about that, and it's going to come up later when we discuss Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, well,
and we talk about shoes.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever. It looks fine. I think what I think happened.
What?
I think basically he got there, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put this costume on you. We're gonna take some pictures. It's gonna be a first look." And they were like, "We're also gonna put like some blue makeup on you." I was like, "Whoa. I got to be somewhere in like 20 minutes. You're not putting blue makeup on me."
So you think they pitched it to Will? They wanted to blue him up for the photo, but he was like, "I'm Will Smith. It ain't going down today."
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. Potentially.
Okay.
Definitely. Second bit of news: the Dark Crystal Netflix show, which is like a 10. For those of you who don't know, it's a 10-episode prequel that's set many years before
the original film. Yeah.
Right. And
the cast they just locked down, I think.
Yeah, do you know any of the cast?
I think Mark Hamill is the only person that I know. And the only reason I know that is because I didn't read the article, but it came up in my feed, and I saw the headline, and then I saw Hamill's face, and I saw the face of the character.
It's too bad that he's never done any voiceover work, Mark Hamill.
Oh, I love it when you're being funny. That's hilarious.
What do you think? Do you think it looks pretty good?
I
Dark Crystal. I mean,
it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna watch it because the original I hold in such high esteem. Because in my opinion, the original Dark Crystal was Henson's opus. It was his magnus opus. It was his.
He says so as well.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he thinks it's his best.
I absolutely agree.
I disagree, but
in your opinion, what's Henson's best? What do you think is his best?
Anything other than the Dark Crystal.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God, see?
No, it's fine.
My mouth was open too. You had me with the whole hook, line, and sinker.
I had the girls watch the Dark Crystal years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What do they think?
I was hoping they'd be traumatized, but they were more like just
This is
bored.
awesome.
No, they were okay with it. We should revisit it. The guy who directed the Dark Crystal, Gary Goddard, was also the guy who did Masters of the Universe.
You mean the Lundgren?
Yeah. Which
that explains some stuff.
Yeah. We almost were going to review that movie or re-review that movie
kind of explains some
as
stuff
a blast from the past. Bo Dial sent us a comment at some point that was like, "You guys should do Masters of the Universe," and we will. We'll get around to it. But
I'm
yeah.
down. I mean, I think we should, especially with Dolph being in the new Aquaman.
Yeah, new Aquaman.
You know, so.
We'll just keep following like two.
We'll follow
Wesley
two actors
Snipes
and
Dolph Lundgren. We'll only review their movies.
I think we have a shot. I think that's a niche brand of podcasting.
And speaking of Snipes, Blade. Last night I got home from work and it was like, I don't know, like 12 o'clock at night, and Laurel was watching some Jennifer Aniston movie, and I was like all grumpy.
Which one?
Because like what happens was
Which
like
Jennifer Aniston movie?
Oh, it's the one with
Vince Vaughn?
No, it's like He's Just Not That Into You.
Oh, okay.
With
not bad.
What's the actor's name?
I couldn't tell you, but I remember the
guy.
movie. I don't know. What else was he in?
Jeffrey, whatever. Doesn't make any
Pippin?
sense. No, yeah, Jeremy Pippin is Pippin. No, okay. We're off the rails here.
Right now.
Anyways, where we go.
Rein it in.
Rein it in.
Guys. All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She was watching this Jennifer Aniston movie.
She was watching the Jennifer Aniston movie. I don't even remember what my point was. Oh, yeah. And I was like grumpy stopping around the apartment because when I get off of work, it's like the end of the night. I just want to come home and either A, play video games, or B, watch a movie that's not starring Jennifer Aniston.
All right, let's be honest. Or C, play something.
Yeah, burst in the air. So then we started like scrolling through movies pointlessly on HBO, and it's just getting later and later. I'm getting more and more frustrated, and we stop on passenger 57.
Ha! Did you watch it?
No.
Oh, man.
We ended,
always bet on black, baby.
I know. We should have watched it because then we would have gone to sleep earlier. Instead, we watched.
I think you'd be surprised. Go ahead. What it said you watched?
Instead, we watched Get Him to the Greek.
Ugh,
Jonah Hill.
Really? And Russell Brand?
Russell Brand.
Ugh.
I thought it was awesome. I ended up watching way too much of it till like about 2 a.m. And then right at the climax, I was like, I need to go to bed. Turn it off.
God. All right. All right. What else newsworthy happened?
Macaulay Culkin had quite a week.
Really?
Yeah.
What's up with the Culk?
Have you ever watched that? It's like a nostalgia video game review YouTube channel called Angry Video Game Nerd.
No.
He's one of my favorites, and he's been doing it for like 10 years, and he's really funny. And he reviews old games and just gets really pissed off. He also like edits like little movies into it as well, and none of them are very good, but they're all entertaining and super funny. He ended up getting Macaulay Culkin to come and play all of the Home Alone video games.
No shit.
Yeah, and Macaulay Culkin shows up at his door wearing like the pizza boy suit from the first Home Alone movie.
That's awesome.
And it's entertaining
awesome.
and awful. Like, I don't know, cause
how old is Macaulay? What, our age now? Probably?
Yeah. Guess how old is he? He's our age.
I mean, he's our age. He's gotta be like, what, 38, 39?
38. He's 38 years old. Yep. And anyways, Macaulay Culkin also had a Google ad where it's just kind of like a spoof on Home Alone that was up recently.
Really?
So he ended up like popping into my radar like twice in like 1 week.
And both had to do with Home Alone.
Yeah, and the Google ad
awesome.
is much better. Like you can tell that they gave him about 500 cuts. Whereas the Angry Video Game Nerd, you can tell that they were just happy that he was there. Like,
one take.
We'll give you one take, and he's a great spirit about it. Like you can tell that like you can tell that he's kind of a nice guy, and he's come to terms with
that. I mean, that's
he's not going to slap his face and
right
do the
and go whole. I mean, he was what 10 when he made that. Maybe?
Oh, younger than that, dude. He's like Daisy's age, so he's he's like
wow.
6.
Wow, it was an incredible piece of movie like history.
Yeah,
I remember watching it in the theater and absolutely like adoring that whole premise. Like the idea that a child would be left alone and then have to defend his own home from home invasion is brilliant.
Every kid wanted to be.
Macaulay
Culkin.
Yeah, it was a brilliant life. And I don't care what anyone says. I liked the second movie.
I did too.
People shit all over that second Home Alone, and it was fun. It was awesome.
We have it on Blu-ray at my parents' house in Florida, and we watch it every Christmas.
I put that up there with Die Hard as like one of those great Christmas movies.
Sequels or the first one?
Both. I'll take both.
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally sit down and watch them both in succession and be okay
absolutely.
with it.
Die Hard might be the best Christmas movie.
Hands down.
Yeah. So he also has a website called bunnyears.com, and he's allowing people to vote on his name, his middle name, to change his middle name for some reason. Yeah. And I don't remember any of the other options. You can imagine what they are, but the one that I picked, and then they tell you like what the percentage is of how many people have picked it so far. So the one I picked was Macaulay Culkin, so that his name would be Macaulay Culkin.
Oh God.
Another one's like Biscuit or something like that. I mean, they're all like awful choices. Yeah. So
wow.
he had a week.
Did you? What were some of the others? You said Biscuit was one, and you remember?
I don't remember any of that. You can look them up at bunnyears.com. You can vote on your favorite one for Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Well, he goes by Mac, and the only reason I know this is because my wife, for some reason, had an acquaintance that used to hang out with him.
Really?
So Laurel would hang out with Macaulay Culkin. This is like 15, 20 years ago before we met.
You think he would remember her in like in any sort of like social capacity?
I
remember her.
I bet everybody who's ever met my wife would remember her.
I believe that. The cat eye glasses alone.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, are iconic.
So he likes to go by Mac, and apparently he's really nice. Another piece of news. You like the Fresh Prince. And you like Alfonso.
I do.
This is me attempting segues. Rob.
You like. That's awesome. I should help with that then. Yes, of course I do.
Of course. And you also like Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah. Who sued Fortnite.
You
You can't survive because I was posting early stuff about that earlier this week, where like, okay, so this is what happened. Like the day before, I was reading some article. The day before the news came out about Alfonso's suit, I was reading some article in which I had posted online about this cat, this artist named Millie or Millie Rock or something, but he has a dance called the Millie Rock. Yeah. There was an interview with him talking about how he felt like artists, if they're gonna take an artist's dance move, that they should then get the way that Fortnite was doing it, the way that Fortnite made billions of dollars on
specifically
Fortnite.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there's Fortnite. It's a video game. You know that part,
and it's free. It's a free to play video game, exactly. Except for
you can buy these emotes, and an emote is basically something that you can press on a button, and your character will do a move. It'll do a specific dance move, and you pay money for that dance move. So you can buy the Carlton dance, right?
Right.
You can pay like $1.99 or 99 cents or however much it is to get your character to dance like dance. Carlton from the Fresh Prince.
So
he's suing them.
So yeah, and then the very next day, the very next day, like after this article where they had interviewed this cat, the Millie Rock guy, the guy whose dance move kind of jumped off a lot of this article or whatever. But then the very next day, Alfonso was like suing Epic Games, and I was like, well, that is almost like lockstep. But like,
so I went into like the comments section of this article that I read. It was on like IO9 or someplace. And there was people who were like, you can't own a dance.
Well,
and then somebody else is like, it's called choreography, and you can definitely copyright it.
Well,
from 1978.
Well, in the article that I had posted, they interviewed this woman who that was her specific law expertise. She was about this kind of laws, and she broke it down. She was like, yes and no. You can't. You can copyright choreography because it's a series of steps or something to that effect, but you can't copyright a like singular dance move. So it was this weird. I think Alfonso is not gonna, that suit that he has against Epic, I think is not gonna go anywhere because I think he has no grounds. Like,
what
based
are you
on
talking about? Like, this is I'm gonna play it on YouTube real quick. Like,
what you gonna play the actual dance?
I'm just showing you.
Yeah, like, I know the dance. I know it specifically. It's awesome.
Here it comes. It's so good.
Did you never watch the show? It's like one of the more famous ones of all time.
Oh, so good. Like he
it's iconic because of Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah.
It's totally iconic because of him.
My question is though, when he showed up for work that day, where they're like, okay, you're gonna have to improv a dance, get ready, and do it.
Yeah, I think it was like that.
Or was somebody like
scripted? They taught him that. You think? No, I think the Carlton dance came out of Carlton. Yes. I think Alfonso Ribeiro created that, and I think if Fortnite is going to be using it like that and getting bread off of it, then they should cut him a percentage.
They should, 100%.
They should cut him a percentage.
Well, that was the best piece of news I had.
Word?
Yeah.
Well, I got a little bit of news. It's along the same lines.
Ooh, Rob's doing news.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a multitasker. I can do stuff too. This comes from AV News, and they are informing us that the Blade Runner anime series is in the works by Adult Swim and the creators of Cowboy Bebop. Now, they're just unpacking that headline. There are so many bits of it that I just absolutely adore. You got Blade Runner anime. You got Adult Swim, which if you don't know, kill yourself. And then you got Cowboy Bebop. Like, all of those things together as a math equation, if you were to put parentheticals around them, means that it's got to be something awesome if it ever comes to fruition.
I disagree.
No, you're alive.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Totes.
That like because there were a whole bunch of Blade Runner when Blade Runner 2049 came out.
The sequel.
They put out a couple of shorts and they're available on YouTube or wherever if you want to watch them. And those were great.
And apparently this anime series is based on the popularity, I guess, of one of these shorts. I guess maybe one of them was animated or something. And so what happened is after the success of these shorts, I guess they decided it would be a good idea to go to the right holders of Blade Runner at Alcon and said, yo, we want to do this anime and we want to partner with Adult Swim to do it. And they were like, "Yo, all right, go ahead and do that." So apparently,
just
it's
do it. Just
yeah.
go
All
ahead.
right, here you
That's
go.
cool.
Toss it.
Here's some money.
In the same way that Marvel did to Blade. Anyway, so apparently it's going to be called. We don't know a whole lot about it, but they have a title for it. It's called Blade Runner: Black Lotus. Apparently, it's going to premiere. It's going to premiere on Adult Swim and will air in English dubbed episodes.
What does that mean? English dubbed.
Well, most Japanese anime.
Oh, got it. So it's Japanese created, and they're getting English
and then
over.
they dub it in English for us.
Yeah.
I mean that's been pretty much the industry standard for a long time. So yeah,
I don't know these things.
Well, that's why you got me, brother.
That's right.
And I'll always be here for you. So we'll always air. They will air in English dubbed episodes on the anime-centric Toonami block. Which, if you don't know the Toonami block, also kill yourself. While Crunchyroll will control worldwide streaming. And if you don't know Crunchyroll is basically the anime streaming service that you can pay for. It's kind of like Netflix, but for anime.
That's right. Yeah. I never got it. Do you ever?
I get my anime in such other various vast different ways.
You go back home to Texas, and people
and
record them on VHS for you.
Exactly. I got my Chinese hookup in Texas, bro.
You bring like a whole nother suitcase and you fill it with VHS.
Stop putting my business in the street, number one. And number two, if the Fed's listening, no.
See, you see what we're doing here? We're referring back to older episodes.
Yeah. See?
If you're not getting the joke, you have to go back. You have to listen to all of these because they're amazing.
They're amazing. Great job.
I got Star Wars news.
Oh. Well, dude, I was waiting on that. I mean, you normally do.
I do. Well, we forgot it last week because we got so excited about everything else. Right. We also have comments, by the way, coming up.
Really? Yeah, we actually have comments this week.
We have extensive comments.
Wow.
I got someone throwing you some heat.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And you wanted to do an hour and a half. This is going to be a 4-hour podcast.
That's right. All right. So what we didn't talk about last week was the Mandalorian, the Star Wars Disney show that's directed by Jon Favreau. They just announced their cast, and as we talked about in our first episode, I believe, Pedro Pascal is the lead, who's playing like the Boba Fett looking dude.
Right.
Then the other cast includes Gina Carano.
Okay.
Nick Nolte.
Oh, wow.
Carl Weathers to come back to Creed.
What? Carl Weathers is going to be in The Mandalorians?
We have to somehow connect every episode to every episode.
I feel like it's like a Kevin Bacon thing here. The 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like we can just totally do that for every episode.
What we into verse. Bad. Werner Herzog, the director, the documentary director, he's in it apparently. He sometimes acts.
Yeah.
This guy who you recognize, but you won't remember the name, Giancarlo Esposito.
Get out of here! Of course I know it's Giancarlo Esposito.
I only said that.
He's the man.
I know. I only said it that way so that you would correct me enthusiastically.
Kidding? Dude, that dude is, and he's a journeyman. He's been in everything, and a lot of it. Dude, he was in Breaking Bad. He was the foil to our boy Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad.
He's so good.
So good.
I feel like I met him at some point.
Really?
He's probably a theater actor.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Of some comparable note too.
I think I met him and he wanted to like hang out with me, and I was like, nah.
You didn't want to hang out with Giancarlo Esposito?
Nah, I got better things to do.
Kill yourself.
Breaking Bad, Do the Right Thing, Usual Suspects, Jungle Book.
My God, dude.
Yeah, he's in everything.
He was also in my kind of guilty pleasure, which I guess I'll have to admit to the What We Into verse. He was on this show called now I'm blanking on it. I think that's the mental block I'm putting.
I just closed IMDb too, and there's no way we can get that back.
Oh, great! Oh my God, what is it? It's like this Disney-fied version where
Mulan.
No, but it's kind of like that. It's an what do they call it? Basically, it's like they take all the like old Disney films and they do a live action update. So there's like a world where all these Disney characters, like Pinocchio, is an actual real person, and
Once Upon a Time.
Yes, once. Yes,
yeah, that's my favorite show.
You're a liar.
I've seen.
Stop. Right to my eyes. Just
before I got amnesia, I watched every episode, but I don't remember them now.
Yes, Once Upon a Time. Yes.
So also in Star Wars news, they've announced that they're going to have the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back in the Mandalorian show. Specifically,
okay, makes sense.
The robot IG-88
makes sense.
Remember
yes.
the robot dude? And then the Tandashan. Do you know who the Tandashan is?
No.
It's probably Bossk. He's like the lizard guy.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the other guys that, if you remember that scene in Empire Strikes Back where all the bounty hunters kind of standing around being like, yo, give us some work. And Darth Vader's like coming around. He's like, okay, so...
he's like, go find Solo.
Yeah, go find Solo. There was Zuckuss. He's kind of on the far right side. Typically, he gets kind of cropped out. He has this weird kind of like furry bug face.
So basically, they're bringing back these old, not old, but these original bounty hunters for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So like Empire Strikes Back like subtly drops in these characters because subtlety is a thing, and then in the Mandalorian they're like, no, we're gonna
flesh
play
these guys out.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's exciting actually.
I dig that. I dig the idea of going back and sort of like giving these characters who populate the universe, but we don't know a lot about, but kind of jumped off and spawned so much of what we know as Star Wars.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they're going back and giving those guys treatment. That feels right to me.
That's kind of a pivotal scene too, because a lot of people talked about how Captain Phasma kind of sucks, and I've watched a kind of a video about why she sucks and what everybody kind of likes Boba Fett instead.
Uh-huh.
And the reason is because Vader gives Boba Fett, he respects him. He's like, no disintegration. So Boba Fett is kind of like messed up in the past before, but Vader kind of respects him and lets him go and do his job.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Captain Phasma is just this Kenny character, like a South Park Kenny character of the new sequels.
I see. I could get that. I get that.
Last bit of Star Wars news.
Okay.
The Ludwig Göransson is the composer for The Mandalorian. They just announced.
Why is he important?
He did a little movie called Black Panther.
Oh.
He did another little movie called Creed.
Oh.
So he composed those movies for them.
All right.
And that's it. That's Star Wars news.
All right. I have a little bit of I have more news to add for the news section. This week.
What do you got?
Men in Black, the reboot with Tessa Thompson and our boy
Tessa
Thor.
Thompson's in it?
Yeah.
And Thor?
Yeah. Basically, they're reuniting. It's the cast of Thor Ragnarok reuniting to do Men in Black.
So Thor's gonna be the black guy. Who's gonna play?
You mean the genie?
Yeah.
You mean
Genie.
yeah.
Who's the other guy?
I don't know too much about it. I haven't, like I said, I try to keep away from a lot of the spoilers, but apparently it's coming along. Yeah. Let's see. Co-stars as wow. And it's being, I guess, directed by the Straight Outta Compton director, Gary Gray.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
I don't know much about it, but I like those. I like Thor Ragnarok. I like those two in Thor Ragnarok.
Did you like the other Men in Black movies?
I did.
Especially the second one. That was the best one. The second one was the best.
I actually liked the second one a lot.
Because Johnny Knoxville's character is amazing.
Yeah.
And the CGI is not dated at all.
It is not dated and bad and terrible. But no, I did like those movies. I had issues with the third one, but I liked that it bookended the story of Will Smith's character from the first movie.
Yes. I like the third one quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's been a while, but I remember seeing it in the theater and being kind of like, ugh, I don't like this. And then having left the theater, as you sort of like process movies over time, I was like, no, I think I do like this. I don't think I like the execution.
Oh, the executioner.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Who played the executioner?
I don't know. It wasn't an executioner.
It wasn't?
No, I just like the execution.
Oh, execution.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that's news.
That's news. Then we can move on to dun-dun-dun, 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 look out, Spider-Man in the Spiderverse.
Right.
I'm gonna cut that out because that was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, but.
My name is Peter Parker. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. I saved the city, fell in love, then I saved the city again and again and again. Look, I'm a comic book, a cereal, I did a Christmas album, and a so-so popsicle. But this isn't about me. Not anymore.
So I think that with the DLC content, because one of the suits that came in the DLC this time was the Spider-Man suit from the Spiderverse.
Oh,
yeah.
For this one, so they timed that.
Yeah, they definitely timed that with the release of the Spider-Verse.
Well, we saw the movie.
Yeah, the movie was great.
We saw it on Tuesday.
Yeah. And I said to you then, and I having processed it being away from it now, I am going on the board for saying that it is the best Spider-Man movie that they've ever made.
So you got to learn to like keep that till the end.
No, I'm putting it right out at the top.
Best Spider-Man
movie that they've ever made. Yes.
Okay. What is your? We'll just jump in here. What is your definitive ranking of all the Spider-Man movies?
For me, it would go Spider-Verse, the Tom Holland ones, the Sam Raimi ones.
Wait. Break those down. Which Sam Raimi ones?
It would go.
So we're at number
Spider-Man
3.
1.
Oh, over 2.
Over 2, yeah.
Okay.
Oh no. You're right.
Back up. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Then you have Ultimate. What was that? The one that.
Then you have Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Then you have the Andrew Garfield.
This should have been Donald Glover.
I wouldn't have mind seeing him, but they would have had to make him Miles Morales.
Yes, exactly.
And I
Or
think
not,
I think he's too old to be Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Like they totally he could have totally been Black Spider-Man, but he couldn't have been Miles Morales. And at the time, Miles Morales was the only Black Spider-Man in the Marvel universe. So.
Well, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, are we?
Because
you went and did research this week, didn't you?
I did.
You went and did research.
I did
this
the
week.
tiniest bit of research and realized that maybe you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, is that a fact?
Maybe.
Are you? Is this going to lead to the comment section where I'm going to be fighting someone in the comments?
Literally,
like two minutes or one man leave.
Street Fighter in the comments.
Thunderdome.
Yeah, no, we'll come back to that. But we went to go see it on Tuesday, and so you showed up first.
Yeah.
And you sat down, and then I showed up.
Right.
My ticket didn't actually print.
Oh right, you had you had a janky written. I was like, yo, did you just sneak into this movie right now? He's like, no, look, I wrote my ticket down.
The manager just like I said it didn't print. So he just ripped off a piece of paper and wrote down
Right.
Spider-Man.
Is Court Street your theater? Is that your theater?
Absolutely.
It's so janky.
I love it.
It's the janky.
I love the mix of people at Court Street.
My theater had always been. I would always go to the city. I would always go to the Union Square AMC. That was I was always my theater. I loved it. The spaciousness. I love that it was in Union Square. Up until I went there recently, and I went there with Amanda Sykes to see. I think it was Kingsman.
Ooh.
I think it was and Amanda Sykes might be able to verify or not, but
Sykes.
they wouldn't let me bring my skateboard in there.
What?
And it was the first time I had been bringing my skateboard into that theater for forever. And then, so we went going there, and they wouldn't let me bring it into the theater with me. So I ended up not seeing the movie. So Amanda went and saw the movie that day, and I was like, "What?"
They couldn't even hold
That's
the
what
skateboard?
That's what I was like. I was like, "Well, can you I don't know, put it behind the concession?" And I was come pick, and they were like, "No, we can't be responsible for." And I was like, "You know what? All right."
God.
And then it stopped being my theater.
Wow.
It stopped being my theater.
Was it? And was it like some 14-year-old kid?
It was some 14-year-old kid, man.
That's my favorite. My favorite thing is to go to the movies on and
get told I can't do something by a child.
Saturday night in New York City for a major movie like The Avengers, and it's just wicked crowded, and everybody's trying to get to the movie on time, and it's running late because it's just so packed, and you're in line waiting to get some popcorn, and there's some 14-year-old kid getting paid $7.25 an hour, and you want to be oh my god, hurry up, just get the popcorn in the bag, give me the Coke, but you can't because you're
You see, this is why
$7.25 an hour.
You go to the theater and you go to concessions. I do not buy anything when I go to the theater. They are not especially in New York, where you're already coming out of pocket $20 to get that ticket.
Yeah,
and then you got to come out of pocket another maybe $20 for popcorn and a medium soda. They can eat.
But
now you know what? Never
here's
mind.
the thing: when you go on one date every 6 months to the movies,
all right,
you splurge for some popcorn and maybe candy.
You're fair. That's fair. You fair.
How about whatever my lady needs?
I don't buy anything. I buy the ticket, and then I'm angry about the ticket as I'm watching the movie with people. And okay, all right. So back to the Spiderverse. Yeah. So we saw it on Tuesday.
So you're.
I'm there first.
I text him are you there? You're yep. So I walk in. The theater's just empty. There's
no one
like middle-aged white woman sitting in a
That
row.
wasn't a white woman. That was a dude.
It was.
It was a dude. It was a dude.
Okay, I don't see gender. It's fine. It was a guy or a woman. That's totally fine. And you're sitting right next to this person.
Yeah. Well,
today.
Because that was my seat assignment. I wasn't even sitting. I was sitting a seat away from my seat assignment.
This was one of the theaters where you had to pick your seats, which is great. Because if you do that online, you buy the ticket online, you don't have to show up that half an hour early.
Right.
If you don't live in New York, you guys, you live the dream because you just show up to a movie 10 minutes before it's opening night, and you just find a seat. You sit down anywhere. If it's New York, it's crowded as fuck.
That's why I never go on opening. I stopped going. The last opening I went to, I think it was for Spider-Man. I think it was like the third Spider-Man. I went to that opening.
We saw Last Jedi together, and we waited.
Not an opening, though.
Yeah, we waited outside in the cold in that line. And it was cold.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
We sat. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But that was only because of you.
Yeah.
That was only because of you.
I know. Yeah, I know. I owe you big. So anyway, we're sitting there. You're sitting. The only people in the theater,
God.
and we're like, and in my mind, I'm like, let's just move seats. Let's just go down because because it gives this guy or girl some space, right? And then in walks how many kids?
I mean, easily 40 kids.
They fill up the entire.
It was a classroom.
Yeah.
It was a class of kids that came in to watch the Spider-Verse on a Tuesday. It was their.
Why were they out of school?
Because they don't pay teachers enough to be teaching. Real talk. Teachers don't get paid enough.
They're like, we'll go see Spider-Man.
It was basically like it was the equivalent of movie day when we were kids. Like when they wheeled out the TV on the cart and the giant disc. You remember when the CDs were fighting for supremacy and they used to have the laser disc? The giant CD. Yeah, it was basically that day for those kids.
Now, fun Star Wars fact: the best version of Star Wars is on Laserdisc because it's the last version before George Lucas started like messing them all up. Yeah. Anyways, so there were some trailers and they all sucked. They were all terrible except for the first one, which is Bumblebee, which Daisy actually wants to see.
I would definitely see that with Daisy.
So maybe we'll go see that with Daisy. The next one was How to Train Your Dragon 3. Secret Life of Pets 2. There was Shazam, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yep. There was the kid. What were you telling me about Shazam with Lex Luthor? Something about Superman? You were mentioning it.
Oh God.
Because you're like, that looks terrible. I was like, that looks really good, Rob. And you're like, no, it looks fucking terrible.
It looks bad. I'm sorry, but I know people are kind of stoked about the new Shazam because of Old Boy or whatever. It looks corny. I'm not looking forward to it. I feel like they're gonna have a failure on your hands, but I've been wrong in the past.
Yeah, I think you might be wrong about this one. I think Shazam will be a pretty decent hit.
I think Black Adam will be dope.
I haven't seen what's Black Adam.
It's the I'll say
what was that?
Well, The Rock is doing Black Adam.
Oh.
And Black Adam is the villain to Shazam.
Oh.
Black Adam was Shazam before Shazam. See. He was the guy. So the power Shazam basically he's gained the power of Solomon from this wizard. I forget if the wizard is Merlin or whoever, but this wizard gives the kid Billy Batson the power of he basically he embodies these tropes. He's like he has the wisdom of Solomon, the speed of Mercury, or blah blah blah. Anyways, and Black Adam was the guy who held the mantle before Shazam. He basically held the power and then went.
And the Rock is playing that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which kind of I don't understand how they're making.
They should
Shazam first and then Black Adam. In my mind, they should have done Black Adam and then given us Shazam.
You would think.
In lockstep anyway.
So then after that, there was The Kid Who Would Be King. This is still trailers, which has Patrick Stewart in it, which is another kid movie. Looks fine. Looks whatever. If you have kids, you end up seeing all these movies. So this is really for the parents. This is your future. There was the Dog's Way Home, which is like a Homeward Bound kind of like dogs talking movie, which blew. And then the worst trailer was this movie called Overcomer.
Oh God.
Which is also a porno.
Is it?
No. It should be. The Overcomer. So right away we're like, oh man.
I roll so hard.
And then all the kids are like not shutting up in the way that kids should.
Oh my God. I knew at the minute that those kids walked in, it was gonna be one of these like it's like that classic like movie trope of like kids kicking the back of your seat and talking incessantly and you're just there just getting like popcorn thrown at you and every so often I didn't say anything. I would just laugh every time it would happen.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'll tell you what, if I will yell at white kids. I won't say a word to black kids.
I can't yell at
I won't say anything to any black kids in the theater. I will not
Don't
say
do it.
anything.
Don't risk it, bro.
Nope.
Don't risk it.
If
Don't
you're a little white kid behind me and you're kicking my seat, I will turn around nicely and be like, excuse me, will you please? And if you do it again, I'm going to turn around and yell at you.
My favorite part of watching the Spider-Verse with all those kids was the one moment where there was literally this kid for 20 solid seconds who was just like, "Are we in the Spider-Verse? Are they in the Spider-Verse?" He just kept asking the question, and whoever the adult with him is a monster, because all they had to do was be like, "Yes, we're in the Spider-Verse. Just
Because you turned to me and this is actually the funniest part of the movie for me. When you turned to me and said, "Somebody answer that kid." Yes, we're in the Spider-Verse.
Somebody answer that kid. Take 20 solid seconds of just asking the question again and again and again and again. It was amazing. It was truly amazing.
Yep. Yeah, so that was Spider-Verse.
That was Spider-Verse. We haven't even talked about the movie. This is just the entertainment in the theater.
Here, there's a well-known thing that whoever is like the guy who's like me whoever's the guy in the podcast behind the scene, kind of doing like the research and
the guy in the chair,
whoever's plugging the microphone in, whoever's the guy in the
chair.
He's the one who does not have to give the movie synopsis.
Oh, word.
The other guy, which we call,
I can totally do that.
We call the talent. You're the talent, the charisma. Your middle name's Karma.
Hold my calls, Betty. Hold my calls.
You have to give the brief spoiler-free synopsis.
Ooh,
and I want to say,
spoiler-free.
Warning.
This is
warning. We're not good at this.
I'm not good at that.
So if you
I will try.
What are you doing? Why would you be listening to a Spider-Man review and not expect spoilers?
All right.
But two,
okay.
We'll try.
I will definitely try. All right. So Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse it's kind of a multifaceted Spider-Man movie, because one, it's an origin story for one Spider-Man in the film. It really is a Spider-Man movie about what, 5 of them? It was Miles.
Wait, you might be getting into spoilers. This is what makes it.
Naming the Spider people in it isn't a spoiler, is it?
It is if you say who is in it and who, because that presumes that other spiders you might be hoping.
Okay,
are
fine.
Not in it.
Okay, fine. So basically, this is an origin story about Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And if you don't know who Miles Morales is, Google it, then kill yourself, and then go watch this movie. And then go see this movie, because it's awesome. So it's an origin story about this kid, Miles Morales. And in the movie, they do a real good job of sort of keeping to the origin story from the comic books. He gets bit, like we all know the Spider-Man story. He gets bitten by a spider, and then he gets spider powers. But over the course in this particular movie, what has happened? The big bad, the big bad, the villain in this is Kingpin. And if you don't know who Kingpin is, go watch anything Marvel in recent history.
Wilson Fisk,
yes.
Played by what's his face in
Vincent D'Onofrio in a really good Daredevil.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio was also the best part of Jurassic World.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yes, I am.
You're not wrong.
There were no best things about Jurassic World.
Sorry,
let's not get derailed.
We can go down that rabbit hole, because anyway, so yes, the big bad in this is Kingpin, and Kingpin has created a particle collider under his property in New York. And so the first time he turns it on, Miles is witness to it. And this is after he's been bitten by the spider. So the spider bites him. Nothing really happens. Weird things kind of happen over the course of like the day, and he's like, this is odd or whatever. And then he ends up witnessing them turning on this collider. Now what happens when the collider gets turned on is it opens up
spoiler.
Does it?
I don't know.
Kind of.
Is it?
What is
the point of doing reviews? I don't get it.
I
know that you can do it
hard
without spoilers.
All right, I'm going to try to do the synopsis really. I'm going to try to do the bridge synopsis. All right. So basically what happens is this thing happens where a bunch of Spider-Man end up trapped in this one dimension. And Miles' Spider-Man then has to help these Spider-Men get back to their own dimension while also blowing up this particle collider to save his universe. Is that
That's
good?
pretty good. Yeah, let's get out of the non-spoiler territory and move into heavy spoilers.
If we were gonna do heavy spoilers, you could have dubbed this or re-edited it.
This is how you do it. You have to do non-spoilers first, and now everybody knows to look at the time code in the bottom of the podcast, and they can jump ahead to the end and have non-spoilers.
Okay, so are you gonna help me in with the segues to the heavy spoiler section?
No.
Just
so
jump
basically,
in.
we as we know from the trailer, all these Spider-Men and Spider-Women, they come out of this rift through the dimensions.
This event that happens.
How many more spider people are there?
And that's it. And then it's about like getting them back into to their own worlds. What was then there's about 6 of them, I think. Let's name them real quick.
There was Miles.
My name is Miles Morales. I'm the one and only Spider-Man.
There was our Spider-Man.
There's our Spider-Man. No, it's not my Spider-Man.
Well,
we already talked about this.
The Spider-Man. Okay. So one of the things that needs to be said about it is that the Miles Morales in the comics today is a Miles Morales from another dimension, another Earth, that gets trapped here. In the movie version of this, they kind of spin that dynamic where our Spider-Man comes from what would be our Earth to Miles'
our time, our place down here.
Oh, you hit me with the Goonies reference right in the feels, man. Well played.
It's also in the Macaulay Culkin video with Angry Video Game Nerd.
Is it?
Keep going.
All right. Well, and so so there's Miles, there's our Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Right.
My name is Peter Parker. I'm pretty sure you know the rest.
There's Noir Parker, played by oh my god,
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Wherever I go, the wind follows. And the wind, it smells like rain.
I have some Nick Cage stuff too later.
Which is awesome. Penny Parker.
My name is Penny Parker. I'm from New York in the year 3145.
Who I don't really know her origin story or too much about her.
I think with Penny Parker, they created her for this, and there's a comic book spinoff. From this point on.
I do, but there is a Penny Parker from the comic books. I think she's Peter's daughter but from some other Earth.
Okay.
I do remember there being a Penny Parker.
Yeah, she's Japanese.
I just don't know about she's related to the Spider-Man lineage.
Right. And her character drives
has a mecha.
Yeah, she sits inside of a mech and basically
kind of like Diva from Overwatch.
Very inspired by Diva from Overwatch, I would say. Keep going.
And Gwen Stacy's.
Hey guys, I'm from another dimension. I mean, another dimension.
Spider-Gwen, which is an actual comic property. They actually made her.
She has ballet shoes, which my daughters love.
Really?
Ballet shoes. I see the posters.
Right. It's and is that it? Yeah. And Spider-Ham.
John
Mulaney.
Yeah.
I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason.
Yeah.
Perfect choice. So those was that 6?
That was like 8. That's fine.
So those 8 Spider-Men are basically trapped.
10 different Spider-Men are in this.
Are trapped in Miles' universe, and at the top of this movie, the Spider-Man from the world that Miles inhabits has a Spider-Man, and Miles witnesses his death. Miles is there.
That's Chris's Pine Spider-Man. It's the blonde hair.
It's a blonde hair. There's a blonde Spider-Man in the movie, and that's a Spider-Man of Miles Morales' universe. And Miles is there when that Spider-Man gets killed.
Yeah, like right in the beginning.
Like right at the top. He sees him.
If you got like a young kid, it's probably not. I mean, my kids would be fine at it.
It happens. I mean, it's dope. Like you see it, but you don't see it. It's like it happens on screen, but you don't see it.
Yeah, Laurel hits me like that all the time. So my kids they're used to it. Double-handed.
The double overhand ground pound. Like the classic Hulk smash move, but done by King.
You don't see it, but that Spider-Man was dead.
Yeah, he died.
He died.
Yeah. Because then you see the ground kind of shatter beneath him. It's
a
dope move. It's a dope point in the movie.
Yeah. So then Peter B. Parker
comes
from another dimension.
The Peter Parker that we know as Spider-Man, as of our time and our place. He shows up in Miles' universe,
and that's Jack Johnson.
This could literally not get any weirder. Time to swing, just like I taught you. All right. 1, Watch and learn, kid. I'll quiz you later.
This guy
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, the guy from
New Girl.
New Girl.
Yeah. New Girl. He's also been in like Safety
Everything.
Not
He's been in a
Guaranteed.
bunch of stuff.
Oh, he's the scientist to bring it back from Jurassic World.
Yeah.
He's the scientist
Yeah,
at the end of the movie who like goes for the kiss, and she's like, "No, we're not.
No, we're not there. We're not that.
That's not what this is."
Yeah.
He's actually my favorite part of his character. Peter B. Parker is my favorite part of the Spider-Verse movie.
Mine was how unapologetically black the story was.
Yeah, see, mine is how unapologetically old that Spider-Man is and how his life has been crushed. And because basically
you gravitate toward the depressing Spider-Man.
No, I'm just saying, like,
because when he shows up, he's mad depressed. He's broken up with MJ.
You relate to Miles.
Yeah.
I relate to the older Spider-Man who's been divorced. And
who's been divorced, who lives in a one-room apartment that he hates, and basically
kind of fat.
Just fat, yeah. Like the scene where he gets pulled into Miles' universe, he's basically just gotten home. He's eating pizza in sweatpants.
There's also the moment where he's crying in the shower.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they just took my life.
Got it.
They just took my life and put it right into this movie.
I gotta start checking for cameras in this house. Are they just filming me and putting my life? Yeah, it was dope. It was like I said, it was the best Spider-Man movie they ever made, and hands down, like they did it in one take. It took the live action several different iterations for them to get a workable, decent Spider-Man movie, and it took animation one take.
Well, yeah. So the thing about Miles Morales, okay, and we're gonna move into the Donald Glover conversation.
Okay.
So where's Miles? How is Miles created in the comic book? I have information. I want to see if you get it wrong. And if you're listening and you know it's wrong, just yell wrong as loud as you can.
Okay. So basically, Miles comes into contact with
why did they create Miles though?
Why did they create him?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been creating. I mean, there's been Spider people for forever in the Spider universe. There's been a Spider Woman. There's been a Spider Girl. There's been several different Spider-Man. They did a whole clone of Peter Parker. They did in the I think it was like the late '90s, early aughts. They did a Spider-Man clone saga where Peter Parker had been cloned, and then his clone was being like it. I don't know why they created him in the comic books, because maybe it was about time that they had a black Spider-Man, because that was probably the only one that they hadn't created.
It was definitely about time. But
I don't know the reasoning of why. I just know that they did.
Yeah, so that's all wrong. What I learned recently was that, do you remember when there was Spider-Man 3 where Spider-Man dances? And then Sony rebooted it like 3 years later.
Yeah, with Andrew Garfield.
Yes, but before they cast Andrew Garfield,
there had been talks that Donald Glover should play it.
Right.
Yes.
And there was actually like a Twitter thing that went out and a petition to get Donald Glover to be cast as this character.
Which was dumb. Like, why would a petition help him get the role? Like, if a
agree.
producer's like, no, then it's just like, no. Like, people signing a piece of paper so an actor can play a role doesn't actually do anything.
The title of the YouTube video would be, without Donald Glover, there would be no Miles Morales.
That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Because the character had been around in the comics well before Donald Glover was even asked to play. Why? The only reason that the topic came up that Donald Glover should play it was because Miles Morales had already existed in the universe now.
I heard that he did not exist until that petition.
You could Google the origin of when Miles Morales was created, and I guarantee you it will not. It will have been well before Donald Glover even came into the conversation, because the character existed before the conversation. When it came time for the Sony to reboot that franchise and they were going to make a new Spider-Man movie, people were like, "Well, Donald Glover should be Spider-Man because there's a black one now."
Well, there was also Donald Glover was in that episode of Community.
Which episode of Community?
Well, they showed in the movie where he jumps out of bed and he's wearing like the Spider-Man
jam.
Yeah, that was the Community episode. I forget which one. I think it was like season 2, episode 1, something like that. So I'm googling Donald Glover responsible for Miles Morales.
That's incorrect.
How a new Spider-Man paved the way for how did Miles Morales get his powers? Marvel always wanted Donald Glover to make the Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I read it somewhere.
No, bro. No, bro.
I read it somewhere,
Yeah,
man. I'm
and
telling
you came in with the swagger too. You were
I
like,
know.
"I got you this week," and I'm like, "How could you possibly have me?" No. No, they like the only reason why people were so.
See, I thought I would say this, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
No,
but
not
no,
at all.
You're like, "No,
no.
that's
The character,
wrong.
the character was around before Donald Glover was even thought to play it. But when Sony was like, "We're gonna redo Spider-Man again," and they were like, "Oh shit! Well, if we're gonna redo Spider-Man, we should do the Miles Morales story." So obviously, who's the best to play that? It was Donald, who was in everybody's forebrain for that. But no, the character had been around before him.
I don't think so. I
No.
think. Let me just read this. Let me read this. This is from Polygon. Somebody put a big picture of me in the comments and was like, Donald Glover could play Spider-Man. He's nerdy. So I put it up on my Twitter and was like, Donald for Spider-Man, let's do this. Kind of a joke. But also, who doesn't want to be Spider-Man? That'd be cool. And that's when, he says, with a significant pause, the world went crazy. And half the world was like, Donald for Spider-Man. And the other half was like, he's black, kill him.
That's from his stand-up.
That's from his stand-ups, right? Glover's tweet revealed a public grappling with a different question. Not who would be Spider-Man, but who could be Spider-Man. By pure coincidence, Marvel Comics creators were knee-deep in basically the same question. What if Spider-Man wasn't the Peter Parker we know? Seeing Donald Glover in Spider-Man pajamas in the first episode of the second season of Community.
What year?
A winking response to his viral moment wasn't the beginning of Miles Morales in Michael Bendis' mind, but the writer says it was an important bullet point to the character's history. So here's what he says. Miles was in development, he tells me, and we were literally right there with the thought, is this the right thing to do? And there comes Donald Glover. He just showed up in his underoos looking fabulous, and all it said was, yeah, it's time. There's something going on. Let's do it. Okay, so you're right.
I know.
All right.
I know.
You're right.
I know.
I'm kind of
I know,
right.
bro.
I'm kind of right, but you're also right.
I mean, all I know is that first appearance of Miles Morales in the comic books was in 2011.
Yeah.
When is this from?
I don't know. Whatever. But it was before. It
was before.
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying was like that they were developing the character, but then as soon as they saw Donald Glover in the Spider-Man's outfit, then they were like, okay, yes, it is time. But anybody could have said...
I remember reading the comic books well before Donald Glover had been given the unofficial title of Black Spider-Man.
I think for me, it's the reason why it's number 2 behind Homecoming is because it's not a live-action movie with Donald Glover.
Interesting.
That's why I put it number 2.
Okay.
I really like that first Homecoming, and it's a live-action. I would have liked this even more if they had just committed... And instead of doing... And I don't think Andrew Garfield's a terrible Spider-Man. I think he's too cool. I think he's too pretty. But he skateboards and knows a ton of skateboard tricks like he's from Gleaming the Cube and shit.
Like, I was like, how is this guy unpopular? How is he... See, this is... And these are... I'm going to break down how the films kind of got it wrong and why they got kind of the ranking they did.
Yeah.
And for me, one, I love that Into the Spider-Verse, like I said, was so unapologetically black because... I'll say it on every episode of this show, representation matters.
Be Spider-Man. Swing from buildings. Shoot webs. Bring down the bad guys. And for the first time ever, you have all his cool spider powers.
Miles is from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Miles is a black kid. I'm a black kid. Miles is, multicultural, comes from that. I'm that as well. So... Seeing it done that way, I can relate. I love that, you see his dunks. Like he's Spider-Man, but he's wearing like those the Jordans from like.
Do you know which ones?
I do, but I don't remember. Like the Air. What are they? Zoom 5s or something. I mean, there's been like 15 billion of them. I don't care.
They were literally the Nike Air Jordan 1.
Okay.
Retro remake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what they were.
Yeah. I had to look it up too, but I knew at least that they were the first Air Jordans.
Well, whatever. Anyway, so that one was the reason why that one's number 1. The Spider-Man 2 got it because Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was still to this day the best sympathetic villain you could have had to do anything. And Alfred Molina in anything is brilliant. The action sequence where they're fighting on the train is one of the best Spider-Man's action sequences in anything.
Yeah. That was for a long time the best Spider-Man, and then Homecoming came, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man's like a young kid. He's not like 40 like Tobey Maguire."
Exactly. That was the and And then Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man in the number 3 slot for me was because it jumped off the Spider-Man universe in a really great and profound way. And what the Raimi films, in my opinion, did real well is that they got the Peter Parker aspect of it kind of right. Like initially, like the problems that he would have in his life trying to balance the two worlds of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I felt like they got the Peter Parker of it a bit right.
They made a good superhero movie, is what they did.
They did. They
did, and they needed, and that really paved the way for even Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then that, oh my God, that third one was. I mean, I hate even bringing it up, but
it's funny because Joe will tell you this. Our friend Joe Boyle.
He was on the second episode.
Yeah, he was on the second episode. His kids, that's their favorite Spider-Man.
Is the third one?
Yeah, and Daisy watched that movie quite a bit.
Well, they spoof the third one in Spiderverse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like there's a scene where he's doing the Tobey Maguire walk down the street, pointing.
That's kind of an Easter egg. There was another Easter egg that I didn't realize until I read it later, that the handshake that they do at the beginning. Remember when he's passing his old school because he's going now to his new school? That's the same handshake from Spider-Man: Homecoming that they do. He does with what's his buddy's name?
Oh yeah, his homeboy, the guy in the chair.
Harper. It's me basically. The guy in the chair.
The Andrew Garfield films, they got Spider-Man right. Like the Spider-Man aspect of that character, they got right.
Okay.
The Homecoming films, what they did was they got the combination of both those two halves right for the first time.
Yeah.
They had the right blend of comic book or like the right blend of Peter Parker being nerdy and not confident and still kind of like down on himself, but they actually got the Spider-Man part of it right too. And that was the first time that the two halves of that one character were together in a movie in a way that was cogent and right and thought through.
So I have two questions in general about Spider-Man. Because when I saw the Tobey Maguire thing, the web shoots from his wrist.
Right? Which was wrong.
So then I saw the Andrew Garfield thing, and he makes the things like he's some kind of genius.
He is.
He is the genius, right? And he shoots those things, and it bothered me. Like I didn't know enough about Spider-Man to realize which one is right, which one's wrong.
Well, this is where it fell down. That's just why the Andrew Garfield one, because like you wouldn't believe that guy would be a genius level to create an adhesive that he can then propel out of this, these canisters that he creates.
Thousands of feet.
From
the bottom of a skyscraper to the top.
Yeah.
Maybe
under pressure,
hundreds of feet.
But but yes, like with the instant bedhead, he was too cool. Like I was like, that dude is not. He is not a loner.
No,
he is not someone who is hard up for friends.
Yeah,
that dude is popular as shit.
The other question I had was shoes. So he's got the Nikes on in this shoes, Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
How does he stick to things?
Well, this was one of these things
one of those things that we just like.
This is one of these things that Marvel did real early on, like when they were creating Spider-Man. Like questions like that came up, so early on they made a comic to let you know how. And they do it in the Raimi film. The Raimi film lets you know, like. You remember there's when he's first learning how to wall crawl.
You see the hooks.
No, they're hairs.
The
way that spiders are able to climb walls is that they have their legs are filled with these tiny little hairs that are so thin.
Right.
They basically go into like the pores of matter.
Right. Okay.
That allows them, and basically it's the same thing. Like the hairs on his body allow him. They pass through the things that he is, wearing over it to allow him to stick to things.
Got it.
That's why, like in the why in the second one it didn't make sense when he was like losing his spider powers because he wasn't confident enough. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was like what?
What? Yeah, exactly. So, but it's almost like a Wolverine thing where they come out of his hands, come out of his feet.
Well, it's basically like all the hairs on your body.
Yeah.
Allow you, if you did that, allow you to stick to whatever matter you're touching.
Yeah.
Because that's how spiders do it.
So the hairier Spider-Man is, the more he sticks.
I mean, sure. We'll complain. We'll make that leap.
Can you talk at all about like Doc Ock from the PS4 version versus Doc Ock in this version?
Yes.
Wasn't there a big reveal in the PS4 version? Or
what in the PS4 version? What they did really well, and this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't played the game, is that it really kind of is it wasn't a Spider-Man origin story game. Mm-hmm. It was more of a Doc Ock origin story game. Because over the course of the game, you basically you're Doc Ock's assistant.
In the PS4 game.
Yes, in the game you're his assistant, and over the course of the game, you, Peter Parker, help Dr. Octavius become Doc Ock.
Got it. Because so it's Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2.
Exactly. Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, and what they did really well for the game is that they kept when they were giving you video game trailers or whatever, they gave you basically the Sinister Six, but without Doc Ock. Right. And what they did real well is they left off the reveal that Doc Ock was the big bad from this game. So good. Like you don't even realize.
Right.
You don't realize it until like almost to the very end. Like he's
not in the trailers at all for the game.
Not at all.
Got it.
They did such a good job of keeping it under wraps because it really is a Doc Ock origin story. Because by the time you get to the end of the main quest line of that Spider-Man video game, you're fighting Doc Ock, who you've helped become Doc Ock.
And they kind of do that in this movie too. Spoiler: Catherine Hahn plays a
which
scientist
is awesome.
in this game who you discover about midway through the movie is the female Doc Ock, which is great. Is Miles Morales in the PS4 game?
Yes, he is.
He is?
Yes, he is. Not as Spider-Man, but as Miles.
So now I'm confused.
Why?
Okay, because Spider-Man Spiderverse, the movie that we saw, there is a reality.
Right.
And in that reality, instead of the Weekend, it's Kiss End.
Yes.
Instead of Shaun of the Dead, it's like something else. Something
else.
Yes,
because the universe that Miles Morales is from is not ours.
Right. But there's a blonde-haired Spider-Man in that one.
Yes. That's his Spider-Man.
Which is the mainstream Spider-Man reality then?
The reality that Peter B. Parker comes from.
Peter B. Parker. Oh, that's the main one. Got it. So then when Spider-Man dies in this one, it's Miles Morales. Is there a Miles Morales in the regular Spider-Man?
Yes.
In the Peter B. Parker?
Yes. There is a storyline based on... No, there is, but he died.
Oh,
he's dead.
No.
Yeah, because remember in this one, you remember in Spider-Verse how the whole action is jumped off because Kingpin is trying to bring his family back.
Yeah.
And because you know the multiverse or whatever, there's all these different versions of his family.
Yeah, that's the main thrust of the story. Is Kingpin's trying to bring his wife
dead family
and his
son
back to life.
Yes.
So he has this particle collider thing, and he's trying to create another.
And
dimension.
Doc Ock is the one who creates it for him. The female Doc Ock is the project manager on the particle colliders. So it's Doc Ock's technology that does this. And in the comics, it's interesting because Mysterio is the one who does this.
Oh, okay. Not Kingpin. Did you like Kingpin in
Yes, I do.
He's voiced by Liev Schreiber.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. You're not stopping this. Not today!
It makes more sense to me that Kingpin, because one, he would have the resources to do it than Mysterio would.
Do you trust Liev Schreiber as a human being?
I mean, I'd loan him some money, but I wouldn't like...
You would? Would you turn your back on it? Like, if you're in a dark hallway, would you turn around while Liev
if
Schreiber
he was holding a baby, like if I was like, here, Liev, hold this baby, I'd turn around on him.
If Liev Schreiber is at one end of the hallway and you were at the other and you guys were walking towards each other, at what point would
I grab my purse?
Yes, and what point would you make eye contact with him?
Oh, I mean, if that's a white man walking down a dark hallway towards me, whole way.
Yeah, whole way.
Whole way.
Yeah, me too.
Regardless of if it's Liev or not, I'm just like...
I watched him in
Trump
SNL.
Oh, word.
Yeah, SNL, Liev Schreiber, and I was like...
That dude would murder you.
I almost get like a Trump supporter. I don't want to say that. Liev Schreiber, I'm sorry. If you're not a Trump supporter, it feel like the whole episode of Liev Schreiber on SNL felt like they're like, we've gone too far with our hatred of Trump and their supports. We're gonna try.
We're gonna be a little bit more middle of the road.
Yes,
so they
it felt like a conscious effort to be middle of the road. That's probably not his fault. Maybe it is. I don't trust him. I would not turn my back on Liev Schreiber.
Was he on there recently?
Ever.
It wasn't recent.
It was like, I think it was like Thanksgiving.
Oh, word?
Around that time.
Was he any good?
He was fine. Yeah, actually, he was funny.
Okay.
Yeah, he was funny. He's not just like this.
I like Liev. I didn't like him in that Wolverines movie, but I like him.
No, the other Marvel.
Ugh.
So that was,
Ugh.
Did you like Spider-Ham?
I absolutely. That's why I'm saying I love this movie so much because it involved so many of the Spider-Men from the world of the Spider-Man Like there was also this Marvel storyline they did from a few years ago. I can't remember the dates of it, but it was basically this storyline where basically Spider-Man across the multiverse were being murdered by Mobius, the living vampire.
Jared
But
Leto.
His family. There was a family of them.
Uh-huh.
So this family of immortal vampires were basically hunting Spider-Man through multiple multiverses, and it took our Peter Parker, Spider-Man from our universe,
Peter B. Parker,
to sort of rally the Spider-Man to save all Spider-Man across all these different timelines. And this is during the time when Spider-Man, when Doc Ock was in Peter's body. I forget the title that it was called, but there was a point in recent Marvel history where Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man. It was Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it was kind of crazy.
That's like comics being comics.
It was dope because it was basically Spider-Man. He had Peter Parker's body, but he built octopus arms onto the suit.
It's kind of like the suit from Avengers Infinity War.
Well, that's the Iron Spider suit, and that's
the Iron Spider suit. Okay.
But like it just had the 4 arms on the back, and it came out. But basically, all the Spider-Mans get together, including that one, to save all the Spider-Men.
Is there a Miles Morales in the Spider-Ham universe?
No.
Yes, there is.
I
looked it up. I was hoping you'd have this joke.
Well, I mean, I don't read the Spider-Ham comics.
Do you want to guess
anymore.
what his name is? Miles Morales in the Spider-Ham. Guess what his name is?
Flies.
No.
Morpalis? I don't know.
Miles Morhamis.
Ha! Hi-ya! Ham!
Yeah!
See that, and I wouldn't know that. Spider-Ham was one of those Spider-Ham used to be one of those. It didn't even used to have like its own comic for it. It used to just be like in the back, like you would have a Spider-Man comic book, and it would be like the last 4 or 5 pages of the Spider-Man comic would be like episodes of Spider-Ham.
I have a quote from John Mulaney about Spider-Ham. Yeah, so it's his pitch. So if we ever see a Spider-Ham sequel, this is what he's pitching. He says, Spider-Ham is a fun guy who is capable of great rage. To see him go back at the Daily Beagle, I could see a Watergate-like story at the Beagle where he's both a reporter and Spider-Ham by night. I never thought that the Clark Kents and the Peter Parkers leaned enough into the day job. This would be more like the Post or All the President's Men or Spotlight, but we'd make it a family friendly, lots of bacon jokes, or that's ham-fisted, etc., etc. Because when I think family movies, I think Spotlight.
Spider-Ham? It definitely. I
said Spotlight, you said Spider-Ham, but yeah.
I love the inclusion of that character for the Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
There's
a scene. Remember in the movie, there's a scene where they're all kind of stuck on the wall of Miles's dorm room.
Yeah, it's in the trailer.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cue it right here.
Yeah, he goes.
Cue trailer.
Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
Perfect.
That's perfect. That's entirely in the vein of what that humor and what that character is about.
Nick Cage. I have some Nick Cage stuff too, because Nick Cage played Spider-Man, Spider-Noir.
Wherever I go, the wind follows. And the wind, it smells like rain.
Yeah.
And so the creators, Rothman and Ramsey, they're talking about him. And we loved working with him, and obviously he had fun with it. You do tend to over-prepare for Nick Cage, because it's kind of like, what would be funny to make Nick Cage say? You end up writing an extra 20 lines just to hear him say it, even though you know it's not going to be for the movie. In the movie, what does he say? Biscuit boxer. We literally had him record like 50 different slangs, like turtle slapper, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of them would have given us an NC-17 rating.
That's awesome.
So, do you know what
that's awesome.
Biscuit boxer means, or boxer biscuit?
I think it's
Don't look.
I think it's what, punch you in the butt. Is that a punch you in the butt thing? Like I'm gonna punch you in the biscuits.
No, it is boxer biscuit is when you have been continuously farting, and your boxers absorb the filth. When you go to take a shit and drop your pants, the stink is released into your face.
What? Where did you get that definition? Is that Urban Dictionary?
That's UrbanDictionary.com.
Jesus
And
Christ.
to use in a sentence, I had too much Mexican food last night and gave myself a boxer biscuit. It was nasty.
Wait, is it biscuit boxer or box? What does he say in the movie? Because I think it's
I think they cut it out. That was the quote that they had Nicolas Cage say over and over.
I think he does call someone a boxer biscuit. Or
Biscuit
something.
Boxer, perhaps. If you've seen the movie, look out for it. And Turtle Slapper, which I'm pretty sure Turtle Slapper is in the movie.
Turtle slap. And what does that mean? Would you just slap turtles? I don't.
When I looked it up on Urban Outfitters, somebody said it means whatever it means in the movie in relation to the movie. So not good. Miles Morales is like a really interesting character. Just on the race tip, these were white writers that were creating this character.
Mm-hmm.
They finally did pass the.
Unfortunately, they create a lot.
They finally did get a person of color. This writer named Hamid, and he kind of like looks at the more Latino version of Miles Morales in the new comic. I haven't read it, obviously. This is just me doing notes. But as far as representation goes, that is good that they brought in a person of color to write about it. Well, they don't lean into the Latino aspect of it, and they don't really lean into the black aspect of it.
They don't. Well, they kind of do, because I mean we. It's interesting that we brought up Donald Glover, but we don't talk about the Prowler.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Prowler real quick.
Because
forget what I was going to say.
No. I think it holds merit with what you were going to say, because they do go a little bit into the black aspect of him. Remember, I was saying I like how unapologetically black it is.
Yeah.
The scene where his uncle Miles is, one, a hip hop head. Two, he's a graffiti head. The scene where his uncle takes him down into the train tunnels to do a throw up.
His uncle Aaron,
who. In the comics, his Uncle Aaron is the reason that Miles ends up being Spider-Man, because his Uncle Aaron is the Prowler, who is a super villain, turned good guy now.
Right. Along with his dad. Miles Morales' dad and his uncle used to go out and do crimes.
Yeah.
This is once again.
He grew up. His dad and his uncle grew up in Brooklyn. They're Brooklyn cats, ostensibly, who grew up in the 80s. They're basically like me.
Right. And if you watch Homecoming, the Donald Glover character is
Aaron. That's Miles Morales' uncle.
You ain't never done this before, huh?
Deactivate interrogation mode.
Look, man. These guys are selling weapons that are crazy dangerous. They can't just be out on the streets. Look, if one of them can just cut Delmar's bodega in half, imagine...
No Del Mar's.
Yeah, the best sandwich in Queens.
Subhaven's pretty good.
Well, it's too much bread.
I like bread.
Come on, man, please. Stupid interrogation mode, Karen. Don't ever do that again.
The other night you told that dude, if you're gonna shoot somebody, shoot me. It's pretty ballsy. I don't want those weapons in this neighborhood. I got a nephew who live here.
So presumably Miles Morales is in the MCU. We have just not seen him yet.
Presumably Miles Morales is in the MCU. Also presumably that... eventually Donald Glover may play the Prowler.
Yes, not Miles Morales, but he might get
which would make sense to me. That would actually make a little bit more sense.
You say unapologetically black, yes. And I think also they don't make that. That's not what the movie's about at all. And I appreciate that.
But that I think I've been saying is I think that just that representation is enough to be warrant multiple viewings and picking up the comic and reading sort of through what Miles is about and who he is, because he's half black, half Hispanic. And other than that, the one time in the movie where he speaks a little Spanish in passing to somebody on the street, they really don't go into it. You barely see his mom's in it.
Ave Maria, este nene me tiene loca. Miles, gotta go.
They also don't translate it, which I think is great.
Yeah.
They're not he's not like, hola, mama, and they're like, hello, mom.
Yeah.
Which is great. Any final words?
Are we done?
No. We're gonna move on to comments.
Oh, okay.
So you did not like the movie?
I did not. No.
You hated it.
No. This one is one you should see in the theater, and I wouldn't have said that before having viewed it, because I was gonna wait. I was definitely gonna wait to view it, but
it's beautiful.
It's one of the best looking Spider-Man films. It's one of the best storylines for a Spider-Man film, and Yeah, you
don't have to be a kid to see it.
You don't have to be a kid.
You'll enjoy it as an adult. It's a good movie.
You definitely
I think it's going to make tons of money.
It should. It really should.
They're already talking about... I closed it down, but they are talking about...
sequels?
A sequel, yeah. And it's going to focus more on the romance between Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even talk about the last scene in
there is a spoiler. I found out the voice of the one of the Spider-Mans is voiced by Oscar Isaac. You set the scene for it. You go.
Well, it's one of those post credit scenes that Marvel likes to do, and basically you get to see that. Because we when we were naming all the Spider-Man that appear in this movie, we forgot one, and this is the one that we forgot. We forgot Miguel. I forget the name of this Spider-Man from the comics. It's Miguel something, but basically it's Spider-Man 2099.
And that's the one where like he's in the black and red suit, and he's got like spikes coming out of his arms.
Yeah, and it's one of the doper Spider-Man that they created in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because like when Marvel went on this tear for a while, where they started just doing like 299 characters. There was like a Spider-Man 2099. There was I want to say like a Thor 2099. They started doing like a lot of their like main properties with this 2099 world bit, and so that character appears at the end of this movie with in the comic books that character gets trapped in the past. He comes to the past and basically our Spider-Man, Peter B. Spider-Man, helped him get back to the future. It's this weird dope thing, but they tease
comics.
that. They tease that at the end of this movie, and that can only mean that we're going to see
because he comes in, he meets Spider-Man from 1967, and they just point at each other.
Right.
It's the meme. It's the meme
Right.
for the internet.
Right.
And they're like, no, you did it. No, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah. He basically, so you see him at the end of this movie, and he's messing with like this time dilation thing, and then he jumps into time and he goes to 1967, and then it's basically they're caught in like the 1967 cartoon of Spider-Man where the animation is a little wonky, and it's dope. It's really kind of a dope thing. But yeah, so comments. Should we get into who I got to fight this week?
Let's get into comments.
Just a little loving early in the morning. Comments.
You want the fighting comment first, or do you want the?
I mean, let's wade in. Let's wade in the water a little bit. Let's wade in.
So we got these are kind of lengthy. We got one from this one came in at 3:01 a.m.
Wow, troll, huh?
From Tim Kirstein.
Oh, okay, all right.
So he says, I'm not going to read all of it because it's about 10 pages long. But he says, one thing from the recent comment that struck a chord with me was the discussion around you make art to reflect the times and the people. That was from you.
Uh-huh.
And you make art because you make art. That one was from me.
Uh-huh.
Right? I agree with both statements, but all entertainment always circles back to money. JK keeps her cash train moving by writing more. It was convenient she dropped the Dumbledore is gay aspect after the movies came out. The storyline is leaking into the new films, but it's not a driving component. She is touching the topic just enough to play to the crowd and buzz, and not enough that it impacts money at the gate.
It's an interesting theory I think he has there.
He goes on.
Okay.
The main point is the desire to make money on movies is a necessity, but that creates an environment where we bastardize the content to placate the masses. For example, Star Wars would have been fine after the first 3 movies, but then they made 3 more, and now they're making 3 more. Franchise was sold, respect to George Lucas for getting serious scratch, and it seems that we will be seeing movies featuring Han Solo's grandchildren at some point in time. Maybe my attention span is too small, but I have a hard time staying engaged after 2 or 3 movies. And he talks about the Bourne series, and he says, this is the age-old battle of good content versus content that is universally money-making.
Interesting.
They're going to make sequels to make money, and they're going to just keep doing that pretty much always.
Yeah.
If they even think that they can make money, they'll make it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
it's a curse thing. It's a really kind of a double-edged sword when you think about it. Because he's right. I mean,
and he talks about Creed. He says, I am torn about keeping Creed going. I wanted to keep going because diverse leading roles are needed in society, but the storyline / premise is so tired. It is a safe way to promote diversity.
Yeah.
Take the successful Rocky franchise, make
it black,
make it a quarter turn different, e.g. different from the character, but follow the same basic storyline. It all circles back to money, reflects society, but only enough to keep the ticket booth happy. Idris Elba as Bond would have been big. Black Panther was big. We just need more big movies to hit to start to see real change in art reflecting society.
I think he's dead on with a lot of what he's saying. I just think that, we've seen it. Like if you just give us representations of the world that we live in, people, regardless of it, will pick it up. Crazy Rich Asians, Black Panther, just seeing yourself represented in a world that you're like, holy. Yeah,
and that's why I'm like, if they had gotten Donald Glover for the Amazing Spider-Man, instead of Andrew Garfield, no offense, it would have been a big moment back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely would have been a big moment back then. But like just the fact that because I remember seeing that stand-up where he comes on, he talks about it, like that Twitter thing, and I was like, and this is before Trump. This is well before Trump even got into office. But like, if the world was going to react that harshly to a black man playing Spider-Man, then it's
He also talks about a little bit about our content and how our content is a little different from the movies that he watches. He doesn't say that we should change that because obviously we should follow the movies that we want to watch. And we have a limited amount of time to see movies, but he talks about some movies. I just want to run through them real quick to see if you've seen them. He says Free Solo, which is the climbing documentary about Alex Honnold. I saw it, Tim. It was amazing, and I think it was one of the best movies I saw all year. I do a lot of climbing, and if you have a chance to see Free Solo in the theater, see it. Yeah, it's a documentary. It's about the guy who climbs Yosemite without a rope.
Dope.
And it's awesome. And there's a very real sense throughout the movie that
I'm gonna go on a limb here. White guy?
Yeah. Very real sense that he could die in this. Yeah. White guy, very good. The next movie he says is A Star Is Born. See that?
That's the Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga joint.
Yep, my wife wants to see that.
Did not see it.
I will see it.
I think you should.
Will you see it?
I don't think I will.
First Man.
The astronaut joint with about the Neil Armstrong story.
Yep. You didn't see it?
Didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it either. I want to see it though. Actually, it looks really good. I don't know why I didn't see it. Why didn't I see that? It just wasn't. It wasn't a movie that I had enough interest in to go see in the theater, but I will see it at home.
Exactly. That's every movie that you're the only one that you've actually said there that I probably won't see is A Star Is Born.
What about Night School? It says Night School here.
Night School.
I think that was with Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, with the Kevin Hart one.
Kevin Hart,
yeah. Tim, I was actually looking to try to see it recently, but I haven't gotten a good version of it yet. But
it's also
as soon as I get a good version,
it's not a theater movie.
No, it's definitely a bootleg. It's definitely a bootleg. Like I can, there are movies that you see in the theater, and then there's movies that you just get bootleg.
Peppermint.
It's the Jennifer Garner joint. No, I haven't seen it, but it is on the on the docket.
Is that an action movie?
I think it is.
Like so, kind of like Salt.
Yes,
and then
I think it's in the vein of like a badass woman reaping vengeance on some dude. Also, another one that
Charlize Theron. What was the Charlize Theron movie?
Monster?
No, the one recently.
Oh, based on the comic.
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. Yeah.
That was based on a comic?
Yeah, it's a graphic novel.
I didn't know that.
Male pimping.
Oh, I need to rewatch it because that was another movie I came home late at night and Laura was watching and I caught the tail end. It looks good. Yeah.
No, it's dope. It's a graphic novel from I want to say the late 80s.
Okay. 80s. What were you gonna say though?
Oh, I don't remember. What was I saying?
We're talking about Peppermint.
Oh, and Widows. There's this movie with what's her face from what's that show? She won the Emmy for it. Viola Davis. Davis has it. Widows. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a little sign that kind of looked interesting.
I definitely want to check that out.
A movie called Searching.
Yes, that's with.
I have no idea what that is.
That's old boy from half of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. The Asian cat from Harold and Kumar.
Okay.
I forget his name.
It was also
Cal Penn and the other guy.
Yeah, he was also in the Star Trek movies.
Yeah. Who played Sulu? I think it's him. I kind of remember a little bit of the premise, but I don't want to butcher it too much. But I think some kind of terrible event happens where like a kid of his gets kidnapped or whatever, and he's basically searching for this kidnapped kid. I think. Yeah,
let me look at. I feel bad not mentioning his name. John Cho.
John Cho, that's him. Yeah.
And then what is another movie? The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah,
it's funny. We were coming.
That's our girl. What's her face from?
Kate McKinnon.
Yeah, and I love her.
I want to say Eliza.
Meg. I want to say Meg from
Eliza Dushku.
No, it's not Eliza. But they both have that.
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. They both have that weird eye condition where one of their eyes is blue, one of their eyes is green.
So on the flight, we went down to Florida this week, and Laurel and I for father-in-law's 70th birthday. And on the flight there and on the flight back, I was editing our last week's podcast. It was great because I had headphones on, and it was just like I had no kids around me. It was just me and the podcast for like 3 hours. That's why we have all those like cuts in there because I had time to do it.
Yeah, it was good.
And meanwhile, Laurel's sitting right next to me, and she's watching it on like the little TV. Like I don't know if you've ever been on a flight, and like you're watching the TV, and all of a sudden the audio stops, or the audio keeps going, the video stops, and it pauses. It did that for 2 hours. So I'm sitting there laughing at the podcast, having a great time.
And she's losing her shit.
And she's losing her shit for 2 hours. It was single-handedly the worst cinematic experience of my wife's life.
What movie was she watching?
Spy Who Dumped Me. I haven't seen it yet. Awesome. I have a feeling we're going to rewatch it.
That's awesome. Okay.
He also has on here Skyscraper. The Dwayne
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I saw that one.
And I...
it wasn't bad.
I had read it. I had heard a little...
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, because he plays like a guy who's missing a leg.
Yes.
And I had heard a little thing about somebody wrote a comment about the movie, and they were like, "Does it upset you that he's not actually hasn't actually lost a leg in this movie?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I that would be great, but but he's also he's The Rock.
I would much
and at least they're like looking at movies with people who've lost legs, lost limbs,
right? Representation matters. I will say it again, but I saw that movie. It was good, and I was actually really impressed by how they made it seem like he had actually lost a limb.
And I'm going to rattle off all these at once. The first Purge, seen it?
No, I haven't seen any of those movies. I don't think any movie where the premise is you get one night to be a bastard is going to be something that I'm going to be down for.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The premise.
Although
I can understand it.
I understand it as far as like a story device, but they made literally like maybe 5-6 of those movies, and they're all basically the same premise. You get one night to be a complete sadist to other human beings, and I'm just like, we already doing that shit. I don't need no movie for that.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke was in the first one. Gotti. That was.
I think is that the one with Travolta?
Yeah. It's supposed to be the worst movie.
I haven't
of the
seen
entire
it,
year.
but I don't have any plans to.
It's supposed to be a movie so bad that you should watch it because that's how bad it is.
Really?
All right. Real quickly, Hotel Artemis, Ocean's 8.
Saw it.
Action Point with Johnny Knoxville.
Didn't see it.
I saw it. It was not good. Life of the Party.
Saw it.
Deadpool 2.
Saw it.
Yeah, of course. Well, if Deadpool 2 had come out this week, we would be talking about Deadpool 2.
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit on one of the previous because he did the
Once Upon
PG,
a Deadpool, which is coming out this Christmas, which we won't see.
I heard it was already critics already panned it as being.
Oh really? Yeah. I mean, they just did a PG-13 movie version of it.
I don't see a reason to do that. Why do that? I don't think it's gonna make any money.
But what you can do is just watch all those scenes on YouTube in like a month.
Yeah.
Bad Samaritan.
Bad Samaritan. That sounds familiar. Yes, I think I did see that. Yes. Go ahead.
You saw that, really?
I think I did. Bad Samaritan.
I have no idea what that is. And then he says, another topic area that interests me is premium cable shows. Ray Donovan, Counterpart, Berlin Station, True Detective. True Detective Season 3 is coming out. When that does come out, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, word. We can definitely do some of that.
Ozark, Mindhunter. Did you watch Mindhunter?
I didn't watch Mindhunter.
I loved Mindhunter.
It was really good.
It was a slow burn. It has a weird
I think it has a UE connection too. I think one of those guys is UE or.
It feels like some of the I think the dialogue's written by a playwright is what I found out. I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up. I'm pretty sure the dialogue or the script is written by a playwright because it feels kind of like it's very, very talky, which is good.
Yeah, I dug it. I dug it a lot.
But thank you very much, Tim, for writing in.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
It's not that we're not into those movies; they just haven't come out, and we haven't seen them on these weeks.
I've seen probably a third of that list, Tim, and the ones that I haven't seen, some of them I'm actually waiting to get better versions to view.
Did you watch anything this week?
I did. We
didn't do What We Into.
No, we haven't. Which is why I wanted to. But we got a comment, and then I wanted to get into what I was playing this week and what I was viewing this week.
We've got minus 50 seconds if we were going to cap it off at once. So let's do it for 15 more minutes, and we'll.
All right.
Hold on. We'll go through comments and we'll do it. Okay. So Mary Kirstein.
Mary.
Yeah. So she writes, I haven't finished the episode yet, but I thought I would point out that Harlexton is a manor home, not a castle.
Thank you, Mary, for always showing up and pushing your glasses up on your nose bridge to be like,
well, actually, guys, hold my beer, Tim. I'm gonna school these guys on the nerdisms right now. Go even.
Thank you.
She says that I've now started to relate it to non-UE people as a manor home like Downton Abbey since that TV show was so popular. Coincidentally,
well, actually,
they just dropped a teaser trailer for Downton Abbey, the movie. It will be interesting to see it go from TV to movie, especially since some of the episodes were 2 hours long, which is essentially a movie length.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
it seems like it will be rushed to get everything wrapped up.
It seems like the Midwest is going to have a really great time with that.
She also says, I could definitely see Rami as a bad guy in the next Bond movie. Y'all didn't mention his role in the Pacific.
That was the one I couldn't remember. What did I call it? I said something else.
You were like, it's the Atlantic.
You were
like, it's
the Indian?
The Indian Ocean.
It was the Indian.
The Arctic Circle.
Stupid.
He plays a pretty twisted character in that miniseries. Yes, the character was twisted due to war, but I think Rami showed he is capable of going there. That's true. We hadn't thought about that. And he said, sorry I didn't have time to comment on episode 2. Whatever, Mary.
Yeah.
Fine, you didn't do it.
Way to hold us down.
Thanks for the shout out with Crimes of Grindelwald and make me feel like a big nerd. You make yourself feel like a big nerd.
We had nothing to do with that. That literally was all you.
And then she says, I'm not a huge comic book fan, but I did recently read Miss Marvel and would love to see her get a standalone movie at some point. She's female and Muslim.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going to go.
That would be great for representation.
She's right. Yep.
That's Marvel Phase 5.
Did I bring that up when we talked about Ms. Marvel last week?
No.
The fact that she's Muslim and a girl this time?
Yes.
Okay.
No, maybe.
Maybe. And basically, she's kind of like, her powers basically make her like the female version of Mr. Fantastic.
What's his powers?
Like grow herself and shrink herself and like be
really
flexible.
Big? And that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Mary. Thank you for writing in.
Thank you.
Now we're going to get to some beef.
All right.
So this came from a Bu Jonathan Dial. I'm going to call BS. I'm going to call BS on Rob's excuse for not watching Game of Thrones.
Oh, word? All right, Bo, come at me, bro.
I would be fine. It would be fine if Rob wanted to lean on some of the show's more legitimate problems, such as Emilia Clarke and Kit Harington's acting in the first couple of seasons, or the racist undertones of the show.
What about the other
or
thing?
the at times slow pacing.
Oh my God, I didn't even. All right.
But his excuse that he doesn't watch because he predicted what was going to happen to Jon and Daenerys Targaryen is dumb. First, not watching a movie or TV show.
But that's not what I said. I didn't say I didn't watch it because I predicted those two characters. I said I'd stop watching it because I was already predicting what was happening. I didn't need to see it because I'm gonna watch them all eventually anyway. But I didn't need to be up on it the way people were like that. It wasn't that entertaining for me because one. Yes, both those things he addresses are true. Like the whole like racist undertones of it, the glorification of rape culture that they seem to really get out of that show. Like there were so many other problems with it. I was just using the fact that I was able to predict that show because it's so basic as a means of or a foil for this platform.
If Bo was here, he would say, first, not watching a movie or TV show because you know how
it ends
or can predict the ending is nonsensical.
That's awesome.
Or at best, hypocritical.
What?
If Rob doesn't want to watch something because he can predict the ending, then why has he seen the Star Wars prequels? Or the Hobbit prequels?
What?
Or it's like saying, I'm not going to watch Captain America, the Winter Soldier, because I know that Steve Rogers is going to turn Bucky Barnes back into a good guy.
That is completely different, Bo. And you know it. So come at me with that, bro. You can miss me with that. That's nonsense. What are you talking about?
Second, let's look at Rob's prediction. In a nutshell, he predicted that Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen would be given the hero's arch of the show and join forces to battle the White Walkers. Big fucking deal.
I don't even know who are the White Walkers? Are those the winter that everyone's so scared of? Get out of my face with that, Bo. Get out of here, man.
It is the easiest prediction to make. I would give Rob credit if he predicted the Red Wedding.
I did predict the Red Wedding, Bo. That's exactly what I predicted.
Or some other events.
I totally predicted the Red Wedding.
But no, he predicted the simplest plot point of the series.
Oh, that is... Dude, I mean, if you want, I can go... I actually did predict the Red Wedding. I literally predicted a thing. I was like, somebody was because the buddy of mine who lent me he lent me the box set. He was like, in the same way he was like, you haven't seen Game of Thrones? That's bullshit. Here's season 1 on DVD. I took the box set home. I watched that first season on DVD. I went, and I gave it back to him. He's like, why are you giving this back to me? I was like, well, because I already know what's gonna happen. He's like, well, tell me. And so I gave him basically the prediction of the Red Wedding. He was like, in the same way that you were like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. This is it, yeah. You gonna miss me with that, Bo?
So he finishes with, we need to challenge Rob to predict the fates of all the main Game of Thrones characters on the podcast, and then have him watch the series and see how correct his predictions were. Which is
who are the main ones? Because the only people I know are Peter Dinklage.
Hold on. Just we're gonna run out of time. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to do just that. But Game of Thrones Season 8 comes out in April. I will compile a list of all the main characters.
Great. Because I don't know the main characters.
The briefest of suggestion of what each character is, and we'll see.
You probably don't even have to, because
we'll see if he can predict the endings.
I can glean some of that.
Or at least predict whether or not they will live or whether they will die.
All right, fair enough.
Thank you very much, Bo, for writing in. And that is...
I'm going to see you, Bo.
Yeah.
I'm going to see you, dog.
That is comments.
All right.
Comments.
Okay. I like that one. He got me a little salty there. I was like, yo.
You're like sweating over here.
I was like, yo, let me take the top button down on this shirt real fast, because Bo got my blood up.
Oh, man.
Miss me with that, Bo. No,
so,
but
Rob.
Yeah, what am I into this week?
What are you into this week?
So this week, I'm into, so I went into the PlayStation Store this week. I was looking for some sort of interim game to play between, so as I was waiting for the DLC for the Spider-Man to drop. And I ended up picking up the definitive edition of Sleeping Dogs and The Order 1886.
Yes.
I got them. I got both games for under $10. It was like 8 something in the PlayStation Store. Yeah. Like The Order was 1886 was like $2.99, and Sleeping Dogs definitive edition was like 6 or something.
Ouch.
Yeah. It was nothing.
Ouch, nothing. That reminds me, I have something over here too that was under $10. But finish your thing.
And so I played The Order, and I played both these. I played and beat both these games in this week. And what I will say for both of them, if you haven't played Sleeping Dogs, you should.
Which you described to me as the Chinese version of Yakuza.
Ostensibly it's the Chinese version of Yakuza, but it's more along the lines of like a Grand Theft Auto type game. You're basically tasked as you're an undercover cop in a triad gang, and you're sent to sort of dismantle this gang, and you have these. It's done in that same Grand Theft Auto kind of. They give you a mission, you go to this spot to do it, but it's really deep and it's really immersive, and you get all of the DLC for the $6 for this, the definitive edition.
Whoa, okay.
And then The Order was a game that it came out. I feel like it came out right around the time the PlayStation 4 came out.
It was one of their.
It was like one of the release titles.
I think it was like when you release a console, it was one of the games available, or shortly after that.
Yeah,
and there was hype around it.
There was a lot of hype around it because I'm pretty sure that it was made by the same studio that made God of War, and God of War, the most recent God of War, the one that just won Game of the Year.
Game of the Year, yeah. Over Red Dead Redemption too.
Yeah, over Red Dead. Santa Monica Studios. It's the same studio that did God of War, and so I think as I was playing it through, what I can remember being the most prevalent sort of thing for me was that it kind of reminded me of God of War. It had that kind of like over the camera shoulder aspect that the new God of War had. You basically what I saw was the bones of what God of War eventually ended up being, but it wasn't a great game. Yeah. It was mad short. I mean, it was a great game, but the potential, you could see why like it didn't do well.
Right.
Because it had all the bones. It told a really great story. It was set in a really interesting locale. And I don't want to ruin too much of it, basically. But basically, you
can ruin it. It's been out for like 5 years.
Yeah, forever. So basically, you're a knight of the Round Table, ostensibly, who you know, like how in Hellboy, like he's a part of that.
We didn't talk about Hellboy trailer. Anyways, it looks really good. You should check it out. It's on YouTube.
You know, the Department of Defense or whatever that he's basically they're paranormal defense.
Yeah.
So basically, the Order is basically the Order of Knights from Arthur's time, and they basically deal with supernatural goings on in and around London at around the time of 1886. Nikola Tesla is a character that's featured heavily in it, so a lot of the weaponry that you use and encounter is based on Nikola Tesla's designs. There's a bit in the
electricity.
It's dope. Like the writing it, like I recommend playing it. It's just the gameplay was kind of squishy. It's basically like a cover.
It was squishy. I didn't remember any of the storyline, but I played. Yeah, because I ended up same thing. I bought it used probably 2 years ago, and it was probably like $15 back then. Wow. But yeah, it was very squishy shooting, and
it's a cover shooter. You basically go from cover to cover and shoot things
but the shooting and over and over.
The shooting wasn't really great. Like the targeting reticules made like the bullets, like you'd be like had the reticule on a guy's head and be shooting bullets into his head, and he wouldn't die.
Yeah, there
was no designated like mechanic for melee. Like the only times you could melee someone was in like these little quick time event things. Mm-hmm. They did it had all this potential, but it didn't follow through. And I think the whole game was maybe 4 hours, 5 hours.
Short, yeah.
It was mad short.
My kind of game.
So like I imagine if when this game came out initially, like if you had to pick it up for $60.
Oh yeah.
You were like, what? What? You felt slighted. You felt cheated. So yeah.
It's like $20 an hour.
But it's a good game. It had the bones of a good game. They just didn't follow through. So yeah, and that was what I was into video game wise this week.
Did you watch any movies?
No movies, but I did start this series. This is the other guilty pleasure I watch, and I'm kind of I hate to admit it's Z Nation.
Oh, the zombie, yeah.
I like. It's bad.
That's how bad Walking Dead is right now. Is that you're just like everybody's looking for anything else.
Well, the thing is, no, I was watching this show along with The Walking Dead at one point because I like their different takes on zombies. It's not, and also I like that the Kalita Smith, a black woman, is the lead on this show.
Oh, that's good.
And she was Bernie Mac's wife on the Bernie Mac show.
Oh, R.I.P.
And now she's helming her own. Yeah, R.I.P. Bernie Mac. Now she's helming this show, and the show itself is not really great, but I like the takes that they do. It's pulpy. It's a pulp show. It's a pulp zombie show, and
pulp is great.
The longer it goes on, the more they've kind of leaned into the pulp of it.
Whenever I order orange juice or buy it at the grocery store, I always go for the pulp. That's the roughage. Because
the thing about dad jokes. Boo your dad jokes.
The thing about juice, listen, there's a lot of sugar in it.
Boo
you need the fiber,
jokes.
Okay.
But yeah, Z Nation, and that was what I was into this week.
Well, what I was into this week was continuing on my journey of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Are you still not beating that game?
I'm like, what? We just went to the manor. I'm trying to remember the last mission I did. We went to the manor and we met like some people in Saint Denis or whatever you pronounce it. And that's it. I don't remember. We dressed in tuxedos. Remember the mission where you dressed in tuxedos? That's where I met.
So much left of that game.
Well, because this is what happens. I come home from work and my wife is watching. He's just not that into you, and I want to play, but it's already 12 o'clock at night.
So what you're saying is
we almost get into a fight, and then we avoid it, and we watch.
So you're blaming Laurel for the fact that you haven't. Laurel, he in here just blaming you for not finishing that game.
She doesn't listen to these. Are you kidding? Say whatever I can say whatever I want because I won't. My wife does not listen to 2 hours of me and you talking. If she wants that, she'll just bake a pie and invite you over.
So Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, right, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
And the other thing I watched was Man of Steel.
You went back to that, eh?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We won't go into it again. We'll do a rewatch of it. The funny thing
Does it still hold up?
The first part does. And it surprised me.
Pre-Superman stuff.
Yeah, pre-Superman stuff definitely holds up. And the thing that really holds up the most for me about Man of Steel is the soundtrack, which I was very lukewarm about when I first saw it in the theater. And I wanted the old school Superman soundtrack. And which is still better than the Man of Steel soundtrack. But the Man of Steel soundtrack is really, really good. So if anybody wants to give me a last minute Christmas gift, Man of Steel. And we got one last thing to do.
Okay.
So I went into Urban Outfitters to find like presents. I'm like trying to find little things for my dad. And so I bought 2 t-shirts. They were all under $10.
Okay.
And I'm only going to give one to him. One I'm giving to you. Both are size large. You have to pick them and describe each one.
All right, bet.
And you have to pick which one you want.
All right, bet.
And the other one's going to go to my dad.
All right, bet. All right, so we got 2 large, they're white t-shirts. And the first one is a large white t-shirt with the image of Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian from the Solo movie, and it says Lando underneath.
And I should mention that my dad, he lives down in Florida in a gated community, which he gets the sense that they're very Republican down there.
Oh, I already know which one I want, and I know which one Pop has to have.
Okay,
the second one, it's also a large white T-shirt, and it has emblazoned on the front an image from Rick James. It's an image of Rick James from the album Fire It Up, and it's awesome.
It's awesome, right?
And that's the one he needs to wear in the gated community.
Look how much this was, and it was half off that.
Oh, word! Wow, this thing was $34
originally. And then it was knocked down to $15, and then I got it for half of $15.
Yeah, this is the one he needs to wear around the gated community.
Yep.
I think that.
And right here, I will insert Dave Chappelle saying,
"Give it to me, babe."
No, he says I'm Rick James, bitch.
Fuck your couch.
But yeah, I like the one with Lando.
Now you got Lando
because for a long time I was always wanted to play Lando Calrissian. I was like. As an actor, it would be one of the roles that I would dream to be the dream role for me to play. I'm not a Lando type, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I knew that was just a pipe dream of mine. But I can keep hope alive by wearing this T-shirt around. So thank you.
After I give this to my dad for Christmas, we'll get him to put it on. I'll take a picture and I'll put it on YouTube.
Done deal.
Well, that just about wraps it up tonight.
Right?
Anything else you want to say
tonight?
Today, well, we're gonna go eat now.
Oh, okay, true story.
What time we got? 1:39. We got time.
Do we?
We can relax.
Okay, all right.
We end up eating down the street after each one of these. No one cares, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it's what we do, guys.
I mean, art imitating life is what we're into. Right?
So yeah, the big announcement though is that all of these are now on iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah, we are legitimate now. We're
legitimate.
You've made us legitimate.
I was really worried they were not going to accept it to iTunes.
And what was your fear in that legitimacy?
Because I end up putting in like
the clips
trailer
and
clips,
right?
Yeah, and so if we also put
so if
these
somebody
on,
felt a ways, they could be like
right, and basically fair use works in the way that like it works until people complain. If somebody complains and says we want you to take this
cease
down,
and desist.
You could you cease and desist. You could fight it if you wanted to, but at the same time, we don't have lawyers.
Speak for yourself. I got a lawyer.
I got my brother.
Me too.
My brother would fight this.
Yep, Bo, come at me then, bro. We need you.
We need you as a lawyer.
Out here fighting me.
So we, if you want to send a comment to this, and you are someone who's not my family or my family, we're at whatweinto@gmail.com. I'm not going to spell it because you know how to spell all those things.
We should hope.
We're also on YouTube, and I just put out a video about Rami Malek as a Bond villain.
Whoop whoop.
It's a lot shorter than this.
It's a good friend of ours.
10 minutes long.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Check it out. And anything else?
Well, I think we should tell them that we won't be doing one next week because it's Christmas. So
yeah, we'll be off for either a week, maybe 2 weeks, hopefully just a week. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try to go see Aquaman, so we'll talk about that when we come back.
I will probably, when I'm home in Texas, I'll probably see it with the fellas.
Yeah, because he's a perfect superhero for Texas.
We do have Galveston. So,
do they even show Aquaman movies in Texas?
I mean, we have to because it's a Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, it is.
And I'm pretty sure that Aquaman's a Mexican.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. I'm Lauren Style. Thank you so much for listening.
And I'm your boy Rob Carmen Robinson.
Oh wait, I gotta find the pause button.
And this is what we into.
What we into.
Web spinning Spider-Man.
This is Web Spinning Spider-Man with flyaway action pack. Assembly required. Load the web spinning fluid and squeeze.
Web spinning Spider-Man. Small webs, big webs. Spider-Man webs are catchy webs. Webs around fingers, webs around legs. Webs, webs,